Today we're going to be refinishing these rusty old steel patio chairs. It's weird that chairs even exist when you're not sitting in them. So before we start painting, we want to make sure we clean up the surface so it looks really good and it lasts a long time. So we're going to use a few tools to do that. Trusty old wire brush. Nice little scraper on the end of it to get off some of those old paint chips. And then we've got a random orbital sander. We're going to use like a 60 grit. I'm not going to go up to like a 120 like some people do. I just find it's kind of pointless, especially since I plan on using a primer and that gets it nice and smooth. Protective eyewear. You want to make sure you don't get any nasty metal flakes in those eyeballs. Then you want to protect those breathers. So we've got this nice filtering designed for paint type of mask. You're going to get a lot of fumes when you do this painting. So recommend using this. Helps filter out a lot of those fumes. That's all we're going to need. Let's get started. These chairs have definitely sat outside for a bit, so you can see there's quite a few places of rust where the paint chipped off. Because we'll be using a primer that helps neutralize the rust, we'll want to make sure to sand down far enough so that there's no paint covering the rust or too many layers of rust in the way. Starting with the wire brush turned out to be challenging on these particular chairs since they had a kind of spring-loaded way of tilting back. So the chairs bounced a lot when I tried to use the brush. So after a few minutes, I switched to using my orbital sander and it went much smoother after that. I still ended up using the wire brush in some of the tight spots that are hard to fit in a sander, like the feet of the chair and all the curvy parts on the sides. So I removed most of the rust using the physical technique with the sander and the wire brush. Now I could do a second step and use some sort of acid like a nitric acid or acetic acid, but those create some pretty harsh fumes. So all I'm going to do is wash off the dust, and then I'll start to use a couple of different products that will help to sort of neutralize the rust, and then I could move on to the first coat of product. In this case, I chose to clean off the dust by wiping down the chair with a damp cloth, but I really recommend using a sponge and bucket of soapy water. If you use the sponge method, just make sure you have a good place for the soapy water to run off and drain, since it will have quite a bit of old paint and rust in it. So now the chair is nice and clean. I'm gonna put a couple different products on it. Now with rust, you can never really stop the process of metal rusting once it starts, but you can slow it down, and there's certain chemicals that will sort of change the chemistry of that rust and prevent it from accelerating. The first product I'm going to use is this rust converter and primer called Rust Reformer by Rust-Oleum. This will help turn all that leftover rust that we couldn't reach in the crevices into something called iron tannate. Now, iron tannate is a solid that helps prevent rust from continuing to eat away at the metal underneath after the chair is painted. The next product we're going to use is Painter's Touch 2X Ultra Cover Paint Plus Primer Premium High Gloss Multi-Use Paint. Huh? I think the marketing person who came up with that may have been using it without the proper ventilation. Before spraying, remember to shake up the can for about 60 seconds. To get a nice even spray, make overlapping passes from side to side, about 10 inches from the chair, making sure to keep the can upright and pointed directly at the chair without angling it. You may need to shake the can again every now and then. Stopping in the middle of the pass or slowing down can create permanent drip marks once the paint dries, so just don't do that. With all of those rules out of the way, just relax and enjoy the soothing effect of the spraying. So the first coat came out really great, very happy with it. I love using spray paint just because of how smooth this texture is going to be once you're done with it. Now again, this is just a primer. We are going to hit it with the shiny gloss black as well. That's going to be our final coat of paint. So let's kind of take a look at this a little bit closer and show you just how nice it looks now, even without that final coat. As nice as the chair looks now with the primer on, you still want to put on that final coat of paint. Believe me, it's worth it. The nice part is, you're an expert spray painter now, so it goes by pretty dang quick. Check out your newly refinished chair. What is it those remodeling shows always say again? Now your chair finally reflects your personality. Smooth, shiny, and cheap. It does look pretty darn good though. Hey, hon.
Hi.
Like the chair?
Yeah, it's great. I love having somewhere to sit and read. You know what would be really nice though?
What?
If we had a table. Then I could put my stuff on it. What do you think?
Table build? Coming soon?
Please subscribe below and give us a thumbs up.